Want entertainment designed just for you? Then check out customizable streaming TV from Xfinity. It makes your life simple, easy, awesome.
Xfinity gives you customizable streaming TV options. Enjoy the most free shows anywhere on any device, and even access your streaming apps right on your TV with X1. Go to Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store today to learn more. Restrictions apply.
aquariumradio.com. I'm your host, Janet Carol Lessin, with my co-host, Karen Christine Patrick, and I think we're going to be joined by another co-host, Theresa J. Morris, and a guest, Leon Valverde, his first time on the Aquarium Radio Network. And this is an episode of the Experiencers Network. And let me pull up what I have about Leon. Well, first of all, let me say we are, as a group, one of the reasons we're gathering is, to talk about the Anunnaki, the extraterrestrials, the Experiencers movement, and those who are having paranormal or out-of-the-box encounters with extraterrestrials, all kinds of experiences, the researchers, investigators, authors, speakers. All of us are coming together to connect the dots and figure out what is going on. And we have a huge interest in taking our work to the world in a series of Experiencers conferences. So we envision 6 regional conferences in the USA, the Northeast, Southeast, Mid-North, Mid-South, Northwest, and Southwest conferences on the mainland with location-specific cities to be announced. We're looking at the major cities so people can fly in and have easy transport, getting to and from the conferences, looking for decently priced venues, people that are willing to work with us. I know the economy's rough, but there are some hotels. The hotel is ideal because people can stay at the convention area, and I know how people like to go back and forth to their rooms, especially the speakers. Sometimes they go and take a nap before or after the presentation. It's very exhausting. Working conferences, and so it's good to have a conference where you can lie down and lie flat and take the load off your feet. Eventually, we'd like to add Hawaii, Australia, Europe, Asia, Africa, South America, and other locations internationally. And we're expanding, growing, and gathering more and more members every day. And this movement is growing so fast; it's taking on a life all of its own. And there's very little we must do to make it happen. And we are getting more organized daily, and our gathering of the tribe virtually on internet radio is an indication that we're on the right track. So we invite you to join us and participate in whatever fashion suits you, and donate if you wish, and sign up, volunteer, call in, contribute your time and energy, and all the above. Doing all these things is what makes these conferences happen, and they're for all of us. And all the donations we go towards creating these conferences. Eventually, we hope to have scholarships for those who need assistance getting to and from the conference and paying the fees to be there. And this is a huge vision, and there are many ways to manifest this vision into 3D reality. And I was a part of the Star Trek conferences back in the 60s and 70s and 80s, and those conferences had tens of thousands of people attending. But our current day conferences, we only need 300 to 500 people to make our regional conference a success. Together, we all make this happen. And for more information or to contribute to our conferences, call either money or work, volunteering, call 808-244-4103 or email us at aquariumradio@gmail.com and put conferences in the subject line. It's our commercial that we're starting. Well, let me tell you a little bit about Leon. Leon Valverde. Where is he? Here he is. One second. I click on this link, and I'm going to pull Karen in, and Karen's going to talk to you while I call Leon and I call into TJ Morris ET Radio. We are simulcasting with TJ Morris ET Radio. Leon Valverde immigrated from Mexico City to the United States in 1998. During his formative years in college, he majored in political science, which forged this intellectual thought process, not only to address the dire humanitarian issues surrounding the topic of immigration, but also gave him the technical background to understand the dysfunctional social systems in our planet that have held the field of ufology captive for so long. Given the massive vacuum of accurate information about extraterrestrial knowledge in Spanish, Leon felt compelled to found Revelación Humana, an organization devoted to the translation and interpretation of documents in English to Spanish within the field of ufology and consciousness. Leon is also performs human-initiated contact experiences with extraterrestrial civilizations and feels compelled to speak about it and help initiate others within this emerging field of non-physical phenomena. Leon is a published author of Quantumatic, just tried that one, Quantumatic Crossing, and political novel about immigration written in the genre of magical realism. He currently is in the process of writing his second book in the field of consciousness and contact, and he lives in Albuquerque, New Mexico, with his beautiful wife, Michelle. And we have Leon Valverde's bio up on aquariumradio.com. And Karen, Christine, Patrick, are you there?
I'm there, and I'm excited to meet Leon. Practically speaking, we're neighbors. I'm down in Belen, New Mexico, which is on the other end of the railroad track. We have a railroad track. It goes from Santa Fe to Belen. So I'm on the other end of them. So I want to meet Leon. I want to meet him here if we're able to get him. And I also want to meet him there, meet him for Starbucks somewhere in Albuquerque and have a chat because one of the things that happened with Brett and myself last year, Brett Shepard and I, is that we were interviewed a few times on Hispanic television and radio programs. That is like there's a huge difference with the Hispanic world, I think, in the whole area of ufology and exopolitics, and particularly the United States. The United States people, we do not know. You'll find out how controlled we are when you discover what other countries are doing with this information, because they have had their own cases, they have their own press. Jaime Maussan is a very well-respected ufology person down there, and there's a lot more openness, and except for the language barrier, oh my goodness, we had good reception and positive experiences with the Hispanic press on all these ufology, exopolitics things that we're researching. And here in the United States, we still have the giggle factor. I just found out they have something called they got something called a tinfoil hat party, in which people wear tinfoil hats and mock it and everything. It sounds kind of fun. It'd be fun, but it's a mockery. The mockery factor is still in place, and people don't realize that's a professional operation by our three-letter agencies to keep it in the mockery realm in all media. And I've been analyzing the media treatment for a long time, what they do. And so the breakthroughs may not come into the United States. We have sat on this thing too long. Disclosure just may not come from the United States government. It might be a coalition of
I doubt seriously it will come from the United States government. That's why we have created, you and I and whoever else is coming on board, a new website called wearedisclosure.com.
Yes.
I love it. I spent all day yesterday. I kind of got stuck with nowhere to go and nothing to do, so I had a whole day to myself, and I was very productive. And I put up the start of wearedisclosure.com. I've got a lot of links to finish, so bear with me, please, listeners. But check out wearedisclosure.com. I'm going to click on this button for TJ. Let's see if she's there, and if not, I'm going to have you keep talking. Okay, hold on 1 second.
Okay. Push button TJ, huh?
TJ
there
Morris,
she is.
are you there? There you are.
Yes.
I got
Yeah.
Karen and
Go
TJ.
ahead.
You're TJ. I'm Janet. Janet here, Lessin, and Karen Christine Patrick here, joining you on simulcast. I called you about 5 minutes before the show, but your call dropped, so I did my intro because we got too close to it. Now, here we are. So do you have anybody on your side? Has anybody joined you on your side?
Yes, we have Diana McClintock tonight, and she's tuned in tonight. So you have Karen. Hi, Karen. This is Diana, and you know me, DJ.
Nice to meet you, Diana.
Diana. Yeah.
I'll just sit back and listen if we're having a special show tonight.
Oh,
are we having Leon?
Well,
are we having Leon or?
I can't find Leon, but I left a message on his phone to call. Excuse me, burping. Call into the show. So, and I'm gonna Facebook him and see what's going on there too. So
we're going to have more on with Leon because he's my neighbor practically here in New Mexico, and I'll chase him down and we'll have him on. If he doesn't show up tonight, we'll get him another time.
Yes.
Okay, wonderful. Well, we always have a way.
New Mexico?
Yeah, I'm in New Mexico.
I lived in Albuquerque for 7 years. I think it's beautiful out there.
It is beautiful. It's gorgeous. We love it.
Well, we'll just have a ladies' night. That's always
we can
interesting.
Do that.
We always find something interesting to talk about, so I can just change this. I'll leave it up. I've got Cosmos Radio interview with Leon Valverde and Janet Lessin, but I can go in there and I can just change it all up, and I'll do that right now on the marquee, and I'll just put our names. So it's Ladies' Night Friday.
Yeah.
Friday, we can have Future Friday. We can talk about how we think the future is going to be with all of us and future, because I love my visionaries, and I believe the world is changing when we change it. And we can talk about our new reality that we're going to grab hold of and envision and make things better, if you ladies would like to do that, because I noticed Karen's got all kind of stuff in her head.
Can we get into specifics?
You can do whatever you want.
Yeah, because we're coming along with this, both Jan and I simultaneously, without talking to each other, began to work on the mechanical stuff and promotional stuff for We Are Disclosure conference idea. And I want to kind of throw that out about how conferences are generally. I haven't been to a lot of them, but we kind of want to talk about this because we're very excited about it. I've been bird dogging and working on it for Albuquerque. I'm from the Pacific Northwest, so I've been working on it for the Pacific Northwest, and I have a few other ideas. But if we can talk about that, that'd be really fun.
Okay.
Sure.
Let's
go. I've got future visionaries are, in quotes, We Are Disclosure.
Thank
so that's
you.
what I'm calling it, and I'm going to put our names now. I'll put Casey, or how would you like me to bill you, Karen?
I'm Karen Christine Patrick. I'm Karen Christine Patrick, because there's a few other of us out. You'll get mixed up with someone else if you put anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
I gotcha. So that's why we have to do the whole thing.
She's branding herself as Karen Christine Patrick. I'm branding myself as Janet Kira Lessin. And now, do you want to be Theresa J. Morris or T.J. Morris?
I like T.J. Morris, but that's my stage name, my brand. But people know me as Theresa J. Morris too. And all my books are in Theresa. So as long as y'all I was going the short route, but we can do this on that way. There's no discomfort in trying to find who we are. Well, I was using Theresa Morris, but there were so many of them out there. I had to add J. Literally, there's just too many. It's like John Smith. I had no idea.
Well, and I was using, for Ladies' Night Out conversation, I was using Casey Patrick for a lot of my writing because I didn't want him to know I was a girl, and I was in the high-tech world, and there's a bit of prejudice. So I could have been a Kevin, So that's, now that I'm, coming, part of this is owning that I'm a female and get over it, from the Good Old Boys Network.
Okay.
I'm going to be my full female, feminine goddess self.
I like that.
I love
Diana goes by Diana McClintock, but Diana, do you want to use a middle initial? Or there's not a lot of Diana.
Nah,
you're fine.
I don't have to have my middle initial.
Well, I'll just keep using Diana McClintock because that's hard enough, the way that it's spelled. It's
not
M
very
with
many
a small.
people can get names like you can. You're good with names.
Oh, well, thank you. She's so sweet to me. I just love keeping Diana around because she makes me feel good.
Hey, Diana, tell us who you are. I'm not familiar with you. Tell us who you are.
Okay. Yeah, she's got to give your full background, Diana, because Karen, for the record, because she may want to come back and invite you to her conference.
I'll start with 4 years old. I'm 61 years old. Okay, at 4 years old, I had a near-death experience, and I was with angels, and that was they could never put me in a box. My entire life, no one put me in a box, and I always had things to say. And so the Humpty Dumpty was my best friend, and I had a sister on the other side who was also my best friend. I was more there than here, I think. And so it was like, the family and everybody wanted to just hide me. And I won't tell you the rest of my life because, I was a registered nurse, and then I became board-certified holistic and a naturopathic doctor, and that was my career life. And at 54, I had a near-death again. I died in a fire. This time I went before a council. And that was pretty intense. So that's basically, even that is still unfolding, and that was 54 to 61. Well, it's not 10 years yet. It seems like it's been 10 years. And then, just like I've been retired since 2009, and mostly because, I don't want to get into the because. Okay, so I've been retired since 2009, and I'm here.
Okay. So glad you're still with us. Yeah. I came back.
I can just to let you guys know. Any experiences I had ET wise, I didn't remember anything. I had a lot of throughout my life. I had what you call being paralyzed when you're waking up. I had a lot of that, and then I remember. Yeah. I remember surgeries, but most of the surgeries I asked for because I was really good at hurting myself throughout my life, and I would call in a surgical team, a whole operating team, and bring them to me. So most of whatever's been done with my body has been done through a psychic surgery team. And so, like I told you, I was always different. So, but only one time did I see myself being beamed back from a spaceship. And I was like, hey, how come I could only remember coming back? Well, maybe it is best that I don't remember, because a lot of any time when I got out of my body, if I saw something I didn't like, I'd spaz out. So it was probably for my own protection not to remember. But so I met TJ when I was living on the road and listened through all the Blog Talk radio shows in the library. So that's how. And that's been since 2013. I've been inside for a couple of years. I'm going back out on the road again. Okay, now I will quit talking.
Oh, that was great.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Tell us about the council. You said you died in a fire. Did you get hurt, for one thing? And then I want to know about your council, because that's part of the Michael Newton Institute research. They're saying that when we die, we go before a council. So could you please tell us a little bit more about what happened in that near-death experience?
Well, that one was mostly me trying to not come back. And so it was just a long table, like if you're at a conference and you're sitting in a board meeting. That's what it was like, only they were different. And I wish I could describe everybody. They were like everybody was like a different race. And they were, I don't know, they were just different. They weren't just regular human looking like people. They were like who you would, I can't even describe them. But everybody had an answer for me why every time I said I'm not going back, they had an answer why I had to go back. And a lot of it had to do with, one was gave me a whole past life story and the person I had to meet. So that, too, would be, and it was, that was real intense, that past life person. And then another one, my daughter is the most favorite person in my life. They brought her in saying, She was like, "Come on, Mom, you're going to be late. Get up, because that would be what she would regularly say to me. And finally, I think they just pushed me out of bed because I landed on the floor, and that's when I woke up.
Wow.
And
wow.
I had that. I can't say soup very well. Remember the Spanky and what are those boys? The one that
Spanky and Arthur.
I had my face looked like I had the black chalk all over it, and my hair, which was gray, was all black. I had really black hair. But
oh my goodness.
Yeah. So I came back from the fire, and of course I went. That was a big transition because I was autistic for a while, and figuring out what am I doing here? I couldn't figure out why I was on Earth. It was crazy. But here I am, 61 years old, and basically I follow where Spirit leads me.
Wonderful.
I've done all that light working, and I've done all that work to let go and not be attached to stuff. And I mean, because I started that early on in life, the not having fear and that kind of stuff. So I am holistic, and I can teach people to do things that in a baby step way, because most people are still frightened. Even my mother would go, "Well, your sister's scared of this, and your sister's scared of this," because she would try to find something I was afraid of, and I'd go, "Give it up, Mom."
Wow.
Wow.
They would be afraid of me because I wasn't afraid of stuff. It's like, and most of everybody's fear is fear of death, and fear of death. Could you think of anything else to be afraid of? Anyway, I've said enough.
Okay.
So I don't know what category you'd put me in, but I'm.
Well, that's an
I'm
experiencer. You had near-death experiences. These high spiritual experiences count. You qualify as an experiencer, right, TJ and Karen?
Oh my
That's
goodness.
my understanding.
Yes. Well.
Yeah.
She's been working with me for a couple of years.
Fridays normally are experiencers' night, and I have to say that I've really broadened. I've been trying to work with who's an experiencer, who's not. I'm not being exclusionary. I'm including people who are trying to exclude themselves. And you have to make a note that a lot of people who are ET experiencers have had near-death experiences. Most notably is Ray Hernandez, who started the Foundation for Research into Extraterrestrial Encounters, and I practice that term every day. But that's how his experiences started, was near-death based, and when he was trying to understand his ET experiences, he read and studied the whole near-death experience, phenomenon. And I think that, that's just that expanded awareness that you go through when you have a near-death experience. It opens your frequency. You can hear, see, sense more because you got out of this little tiny box, a suit of armor body that we have, and there's more out there. And so it's if you come back into your body, my daughter went through that. She had a near-death experience. I believe I have too. I've got to get some regression and find out when. It's probably when I was about 3 years old, or 2. And what happens is the whole phenomenon of ET and ghosts and crypto animals and everything and spirits and non-corporeal. You're just kind of on that, bat channel. You're on that bat channel. And the NDE, the NDE kind of reminds you also that you really are not your body. Your body is the container of your spirit, and your spirit is multidimensional. And so I include people who've had other types of paranormal experiences, as sooner or later they will have an ET one. Also, people who are studying it and learning about cases. It'll sneak up on them, and suddenly they'll realize this thing is real, or they will be contacted, or they will realize their dreams and visions are contact. So I think the experiencer thing is if all your normal is para, if all your normal is paranormal, that's as you get more along the road, you sort of are over there, and you're visiting here is the feeling.
Exactly, and that's how I felt all my life. I started out that way.
Well,
really,
because you had it. Yeah, I did too.
The first time I left, I didn't have to stay. When I was 4, I didn't have to stay. I could have came back to a better family, a supportive family, if I wanted to. But I came back on my, and then the second time I didn't want to come back. So I felt, the difference between being just barely, here and being 54 was a lot. When you're young, oh, sure, I can do it. And then at 54, don't make me go back.
I know the feeling.
So it's been an experience. Now, I have had ET experiences as far as telepaths.
Right.
I just don't need to go. I just don't need to know if I go somewhere. I just don't have the need to know all of that. I believe that one day soon there's going to be like spaceships that park themselves here, and you can walk in one door and come out the next door whole. Like if you're missing a leg, you'll come out of that with 2 legs. So, that's when we're going to heal people who truly believe. So I think, but, other people think I'm really crazy for thinking this, but I've had to prove it again lately. I cracked my head really, really hard, and I was not going to go to the hospital. And I was standing in front of the mirror going, I believe in instant healing. Therefore, you can't take that belief away from me. I've known that since I was 4 years old. So you have to let me be instantly healed because I believe it. So I'm standing in front of the mirror, and by the third day, it's like I'm being talked to and laughed at. And, okay, let's let her heal. Don't make her go. So I have a nice fracture. I have a parallel fracture, but it could have been much, much worse.
Right.
I flew into the cement because my foot got stuck on the broken sidewalk, and the rest of my body kept on going.
Yeah.
This was only 2 weeks ago.
Wow. And
so
you're talking to
I believe in instant healing. So that's something that a lot of people have taught me with throughout my life, this healing thing that I have going. But that must be what I'm here for, is the healing part, is to help other people learn about healing. That's what I think, anyway.
I love it.
Yeah.
So, TJ, you want to heal. Well, your cold is gone.
Well, I haven't had instant healing, but I have had to go deep within and do my own healing because sometimes I would go the traditional route and those things just weren't working. So it was either heal thyself or die. So that's what I found, and I've learned how to do more and more of that over time. And, I'm not 100% effective because I would be, 100% healthy. But right now I'm pretty good. I'm 61, going on 62. When's your birthday, Diana?
Oh, May 7th. I thought you were much younger than me.
Oh,
you're 61.
No,
we're the same thing. Yeah. Well, I'm not talking about being healed like a 25-year-old strong and all that stuff. I'm still 61, but I'm saying that when the bad things happen, I declare instant healing because I just don't want to go through surgery or to the hospital. I worked in them for 32 years, and I know the truth of what goes on there. So please don't make me go there. Just heal me. But your psychological healing. I know you help people psychologically.
What's the truth that goes on in the medical field? Because I was studying it. I was watching Grey's Anatomy and all these medical shows. And if you see those things, you never want to go into the hospital ever. It looks like your chances, especially Grey's Anatomy, it looks like you had a 50-50 chance of making it out of there alive. I don't know what the real stats are, but it seems like they kill a lot of people in hospitals. They make a lot of stupid mistakes. And somebody the other day went, it was one of your relatives, TJ. Or somebody that's one of your cousins or somebody married. A young man, 25, went to have a tonsillectomy and they killed him. So that seems like something, they screwed up something. For a 25-year-old to die with a tonsillectomy, that's just bizarre. So what have you seen? Have you seen them make a lot of mistakes?
Well, the truth is they don't care if people die now. Things have changed to that point. They're not taught. It's a business. It's a business. It's about making money. And if you're nice to people, you get in trouble if you're nice to the patient. And if you're nice, they find all kinds of things that you did wrong, that you really didn't do wrong. So you can't really be nice to people. You're supposed to just walk in the room and say, I've got 10 patients, I'll see you in 3 hours, blah, 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 and then take off and not do, and if people are always pulling their catheters out, pulling their IVs out, throwing up blood, and they can't get, you really can't get anything done for them in the hospital. So you might as well go the other route and be paranormal and learn the supernatural healing. But I'm telling you, though, that's not true for everybody. If family goes with you, things are different.
Oh, my gosh. Oh, she's so right. I was a family caregiver for all my family members. And, one of the things that they're doing is they're patient dumping back onto the families. So they shave off a day or two because they look like they have a live one, a caregiver that gives a crap or a family member who really wants to try. But they're sending the patients home too soon in some cases, because that's the other end of it, is that they expect family members to suddenly be able to handle medical equipment and watch sutures and all that crap. And you're right about they don't care if you die. I was horrified in Texas. When I lived in Texas, we had a friend who was in his last, went through the last transition. He went through his transition. He was in a nursing home, very nice place. He went in there. It didn't smell bad or anything. It was kind of pleasant. But the policy was that he was having trouble. He would wake up disoriented and then fall out of the little bed that he had. And he'd also pull out his feeding tube. And whatnot, because he'd be confused. And I was working with the lady who was just a friend who was, acted the part of the family because the family abandoned him. And basically, they didn't have any rails on the beds, and he wanted rails on the beds because he didn't want to fall. And the nurses told us...
Oh, that's a restraint.
Yeah, they said he's allowed to fall if he wants to.
But you're not allowed to restrain anybody, so therefore everybody gets to fall and bang their heads. All the old folks get to fall down now.
Yeah, he's allowed to fall if he wants to. He's allowed to fall if he wants to, and he had a fall, and he bumped his head, and then he started messing with his feeding tube, and it hastened his demise. It was awful.
Yeah. If you go in there with a broken hip, forget it, because just what is given to you during surgery. But then again, if your family's with you, it's not always that way. But if you come out of anesthesia going crazy and all that, there's just so many rules and things. In the early years of nursing, in the 70s, it was great. But as it got into over 2000, my soul couldn't handle that anymore. I can't wait for the day when our hospitals are spaceships that land down here.
Oh, I hear what you're saying.
Really heal people.
As a family caregiver, the other side of it is the global economic issues and family issues. Now the family is less and less able to be there, so there's the last remaining, wall of people is your caregivers. And your caregivers are just driven to deep despair because of we're given so much responsibility and no support. I mean, no support now. The families don't have enough money to support the one caregiver. Everyone has to work, or everyone's has no gas money. I mean, it's just coming down to this horrendous death care that we have. That I've been that was my experience. I was a family caregiver for 8 family members and one for 20 years. My daughter was disabled, and she's got a good situation. I'm real happy. But what I've seen, it's like you said, they don't care. It is death care. It's not life care. It's not health care. And it's mandated from the corporations who've taken over the health care, and they're bottom line oriented, and they don't care. And so it is the whole system is so horrendous that it's beyond words if you know the inside stuff. And like you said, your soul can't handle it. My soul couldn't handle it. I cracked. I actually had my health fail in 2013 and 14 because I couldn't take it anymore. I had a breakdown. because of my spirit in deep despair. And I had 3 family members I was trying to take care of at the same time, and nobody in my family would come take care of some of these other family members. They had to work. They had this problem. They had that problem, and it was just like, oh my gosh, what is happening to people? What's wrong with our families? What's wrong with our souls that we just, even people that were spiritual or religious, they were counting themselves out. And it was, my brain could not comprehend that, because I came in with too much empathy, man. And wow, it's painful.
Yeah, I think we're all caregivers. Everybody here that's talking tonight.
Yeah.
And I've been through like 4 family members that because I was retired, I got to take care of all of them, and when they got to the point that nobody else wanted to. So that was another thing with me and one of them was really great. I found out that I had one family member that did care about me. Only I got to see him 3 months before he died, and I got to be with him as he was dying. So that was an uncle, my dad's brother. I found out, wow, somebody doesn't mind that I know about angels and healing and stuff.
Yeah.
Somebody loves me. So, part of that caregiving is you're getting loved by the person that you're sitting with as they're passing over, because they know that no one else would have sat there with them like you did. And that is a tremendous award that you have for doing that.
Yes,
so
true.
I commend you.
Thank you, and you also, and all of us.
I commend the caregivers because I didn't stay when my parents were dying. I ran. So I can emphasize with myself. I felt bad. I felt guilty, but it was them or me. I was given a death sentence. They told me I had 6 months to live. I had lung disease, and I just said to my sister and brother, I said, I'm going to Hawaii, because if I don't go to Hawaii, you're going to be burying me before you bury Mom and Dad. So I can see, I know there's all this stuff that happens and the reasons why we do things in the moment, and it's, we just need to restructure our entire system.
Yes.
Because we take care of the children, and that seems to be acceptable. But even that, we don't really provide for the caregivers, be it on either end. The people that are taking care of children, and then we have people that really aren't qualified to be caregivers, either for young people or old people or in between. Some people, might be able to procreate and pop them out, but they are not parents. They're not parental material. Maybe if they were part of a tribe and they could be there part-time. My mother, I love my mother, but she was a horrible mother. She just was not, if she would have fared much better, and she was born in 1922, so she was a product of the World War II and the Depression era, but she was not very happy with her life, not very satisfied, not fulfilled. She was very intelligent, and she was underutilized. And so if she could have, gone to college, had a profession, I like that she gave birth to me. I like my genetics. I think it's a pretty good body. I appreciate having this form to experience a lifetime in. And I think that I would have fared much better having somebody else be my primary caretaker. She could be a part of my life. So I'm inviting everybody, this conversation for me is about looking at how do we take care of our citizens of our planet, and how can we do it better, because we're not doing a very good job as a society, and the people that are doing the caretaking are, getting worn out and their bodies hurt. And now we have a society where the people are, we're getting older and older, and so the outlook for us having very good care at the end of the day, at the end of the road, is not very high, because we don't have the population to support all the baby boomers that came in after World War II. And we're a very unconscious society. And I know that this is probably hitting home for TJ, because she's a caregiver right now, and she doesn't have very much support. TJ, would you like to talk for a couple minutes here about our topic that has emerged. Are you there, TJ, or did you leave? She may not be here.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm just sitting here sore, but Tom's having a rough time, and we didn't expect this for either of us, and yet we're doing the best we can. You know, he's had 5 operations. It wasn't really safe to do them back-to-back, but apparently he didn't have any choice because he had gangrene from a simple blister on his foot. Now he has another one on the back of his heel because the doctor that made his shoe insisted he wore an 8 because when he put his foot in the little meshy stuff, it came out, it looked like an 8, but said it was an 8. So he went by what it said. Well, he's worn an 8.5 his whole life, in the military 8.5, but now his leg's sitting here, I'm looking at it in the corner with his other brace for his other leg, but he's missing one leg because he has diabetes, folks, and he has a kidney failure and heart failure, but he's on dialysis 3 times a week. So on Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, he gets up at the crack of dawn. Usually I have to get him up at 3:30 if I'm lucky. I think, this morning, 3:30, honey? Yeah, but normally they come and pick him up, and fortunately he's a vet, so they'll come pick him up in McGrit's bus because that saves us a lot of gas money, folks. It really does, because he has to go over to another city to go to dialysis, and so he goes 3 days a week due to diabetes and his kidneys failing. But they blame everything on that, and so his foot got infected and wouldn't get well, and they blame that on he's very anemic and he doesn't eat well, and he's down to like 98 pounds. But boy, when you're picking him up and putting him in bed and on the potty, they feel like 3,000 pounds, you know, because it's just dead weight. And that's what's making me sore, is having to move him. But, you know, he can't do it for himself, and unfortunately today we found out he's got almost double pneumonia. His right lung's filled up and his left lung's filling up. And right now on the weekend, we've learned from many years of going and coming from the hospitals that the weekends are not when you want to go in if you can help it, because you go in and wait hours to get treated in the ER, and then by the time they get all the paperwork done and decide they can find a room, last time we waited, 15 hours for a room. And this is a big, fancy hospital they have in Owensboro, but it's a new hospital, but they're still overcrowded. There weren't any rooms, and he finally got one. And then you just sit there all weekend waiting for the doctors to come in on Monday morning. And his regular doctor here can't see him down there, so we have to depend on what they call hospitalmen. And they come in, usually one's assigned, and then the other 2 look in on him, and then they just start. Basically, it's run by not personal giving, which shocked me over all the years of, even though I was a corpsman, but the people are people, okay? And it's like Diana said, they really are sticking their head in, and I stayed there with him nights and know they come in and check, and he learns their routine. He knows when they feed him, and they do a halfway decent way of sending in a dietitian to see what he can eat, since he's a diabetic and a renal patient, so he's got a double problem with what he's eating. And then the eating's a big problem because it doesn't give his body the nourishment, without putting fuel in our tank. So he's a very complicated individual for a man that was, he was a war hero, literally, folks, and got a Purple Heart, 2 actually, but he's been stabbed and shot all during that Desert Storm, and then everything was, he was over there before Colin Powell and before Schwartz, what's his name, Schwarzkopf?
Yeah. Yes, General Fort Schwartz.
He was and he worked for all the big heads, and he would go into Baghdad, if y'all remember the bad guys, supposedly, allegedly. Usually the bad guys are people we put on payroll and support them in some kind of separating their country to be more like us, and then we give them, training and arms and all that. And then we usually wind up turning on them, I guess, or we stop giving them money or whatever, but there seems to be a standard MO there. I guess we're not allowed to discuss, but logic tells you how this is done, and now it's so open in the world with the way we've been running the world with weapons since then. But staying on topic with the way that hospitals and humans are treated, you've got to remember, people are people in any profession. And in defense of the medical, which I was trained as a hospital corpsman and have my license and all that through the Naval Hospital Corps School in Great Lakes, Illinois, which I was very proud of. Thank you very much. And I was always a 4.0 sailor. I totally, took the oath. My husband and I are total patriot, veteran, rah-rah and, gung-ho. So we bought anything that anybody would want to as far as the, red, white, and blue and the esprit de corps. You get that, right? But then when you get in, you just are on your own. But this is all from that period. And he got stabbed deep into the sheath, and we think he had a slow leak in his pancreas or whatever. But they patched him up. Colin Powell, he got flown out when he got stabbed to a hospital ship, the Navy hospital ship. I think it was Mercy. I used to know all the names because I had to because I was in the Navy and was a hospitalman. But anyway, they flew him out and they patched him up and sent him right back out in the field immediately because he was sort of the boss. And they were in the enemy lines and going into Baghdad before we knew that they were going into Baghdad. He went over and got the bust. If you guys want to, any of you real super-duper historians out there, he went over and got the bust of Saddam Hussein. Oh, that's it? I can't talk about it? Well, anyway. And, and yeah, that's what she says. That's all you can say. Okay, so stop there. So basically he's suffering now, and it's sad. What?
Yeah, I had a question going on now.
Okay, I didn't understand a word anybody said. I think y'all all talked at one time. Well,
try
anyway,
that one more time.
Yes, we love our caregivers, and I am one now, not by wanting to, but by training by the U.S. government for my husband. And if it wasn't for the U.S. government and me needing something to do, apparently, I was in Hawaii doing my psychic stuff and running a company and had my government thing, and somebody from Washington came over and took care of my paperwork and then shipped me to Fort Hood and the Army, and then I signed new paperwork, but it was still Navy that reassigned me as a rehire, but the government intelligence community bought my contract from the Navy, so we won't go there. But I just went along with whatever they told me. I was a very proud American, and I did whatever they told me to do, and I'm here for him now, and I'm 5'11", 230. Usually, all my life, I was Superwoman. My kids still see me as Superwoman, but I'm a 64-year-old Superwoman. I'm coming up on 12/26, the day after Christmas, folks, and so I don't think I'm a Superwoman anymore. But my heart and my mind thinks I am, but my body's sitting here. I've had a broken back, broken neck, broken left shoulder. Now I've got my other shoulder needs operating on, but I just get a cortisone shot in my shoulder, and I got to go get another one. But, we have to stay in shape no matter what happens to your physical core. And unfortunately, I'm not in the best of shape. I don't know any woman that after 50 doesn't have that middle age spread when it seems like your metabolism shuts down or slows. I'll say slows down, okay? And we get a little extra weight, and it does. We look at our heart and how everything works, and that usually it's heart failure, or we fill up with water, which I'm concerned about him doing. And I know he's not going to want to be intubated, but he doesn't want to do kidney dialysis either. That's very, very painful. If you could see his arm, they took his vein and artery and spliced it together, and he has a place on his right arm. He's left-handed, and they have to stick him with huge needles, like 20 gauge. Is it 20, honey, or bigger? Oh, it's only 14? Oh, okay, he says it's only 14. But you think of those little bitty ones that you get a shot with. They're tiny one, but these are huge. But 2 in, one that goes in, and what does the other needle do? They have to put 2 in. I don't even understand it. They put him on a machine, and one pushes in the blood and one pulls out the blood in the machine. So it's in, out of your system, rotating, and you see this little circle thing with the blood in the machine rotating it, and they put this salt water stuff and all that. Anyway, they do it while he's in the hospital. But now they called today, the VA, and said he's got to go to the hospital. They told him to go to the ER, but he says, I'm not going on the weekend. They can send you whenever they want, but he knows it's not going to do him any good till Monday. So that's his plan. So, guys, we may not be doing a show next week. I don't know, because you just don't. I'm not going to sit there while he's being miserable and try to do a show. You know, we can say we can be miserable at home, but we'll probably, I don't know how this is all going to end, but we're going to hopefully get him in some more antibiotics. But I'm wondering, because he had pneumonia in the hospital when he got all these operations March and April of this year. A lot of y'all might remember. I did a few shows over the last 6 months, but he's gotten pneumonia, and I don't think he ever really got rid of the bug, because nobody ever really tells you, okay, you're rid of the pneumonia. They never did that. They just kept trying him on various antibiotics. And, your body builds up resistance to various antibiotics, or antibiotics, however you want to say it. So this is what we're dealing with here to keep him in human form. And I'm glad this is a spiritual night, folks, because, keeping your spirit up and positive is what I'm hoping that we're going to keep working with. And if we can bring our 4 physical women bodies together for the cause of raising the ascension process, I call it ascension age, and the consciousness, then I think it's very well needed just for the women folk, if not for the men folk as well, but especially for all those experiencers out there, because if you're human and you're healthy, God bless you, because your health means more than anything. And I agree with Karen and Diana. We go through this life and then we realize the material world isn't that important. And from what I'm reading around the world is we're going into a minimalistic society, more space-bound, where we know we can't take it with us when we die, and that's just logical. And some people try to, My husband makes a joke about pulling a hearse with his all his stuff in the back like a U-Haul trailer, taking it with him, but he knows he can't, And so the material wealth, we've got enough, and we don't have a lot, but we have enough to be comfortable. And mostly it's family heirlooms or family photos, and I've got a lot of books, and I used to have a lot of jewelry. I don't have that anymore, and we used to have a lot of things and a lot of guitars because we did music and festivals for 7 years. But we're very comfortable, and I hope you 3 ladies are with where you're at in life, because now I really believe this transition from 12/21/12 forward is about the new reality and the future and how we're going to deal with all that we're dealing with. And I know Stephen Greer has really the handle on disclosure, and that it's his name that made disclosure what it is. Dr. Stephen Greer, folks, he gets all the credit. And trying to get us in the military to come out. Well, there's 2 parts of that disclosure. One is those in the government, and there's those out of the government. You're either in or you're out, is the way it's said. And many that have retired, when they're close to their deathbed, they spill their guts, or they start telling everything that they heard about disclosure. And when we say disclosure, we're basically talking about the UFO phenomenon, which Tom and I know is real and it exists, and they are not unidentified. They are identified. They're just not of Earth origin. So, like they say near Earth objects, NEOs, we say NEO for not Earth object, but we call them spacecraft. And now we're dealing with these ladies in hopes that maybe we can have a gathering of people that somewhere in their lives they've had experiences. My daughters have all their lives. I have. Seeing UFOs, that's what we call them. But there's various levels of people that worked in the government, out of government, and then all those that suspect what they're seeing is not. Now, some of them are. Some of them we have that technology from 1947 forward. And this show is all about bringing, I guess, together our spirit with what we know to be off-planet. And so I'm going to stop there. Back to you, Janet. I did my part, so you ladies can take it back. Uh-oh.
Did we lose Janet?
I've been talking and
I'm not
Anybody
here.
there?
Sorry, I had it on mute. And I'm talking away, and you can't hear me.
Okay, I thought my battery's fixing to go dead, so I'm going to have to call back in. It's saying low battery. So I I really, folks, just to be here now in this body and know what I know, me is amazing. Having near death, which many, near deaths, and a reawakening at 10-10-10 epiphany. But working here with Janet has been a blessing. It's kept me sane, not insane. Depends on who's listening, right?
Hey, TJ?
It's none of my business what y'all think of me, right? You can't control the perceiver, the perceptions. But, you feel this spiritual bond is what keeps me working. It really is. And Karen asked that on one of our shows, how do you do it? Well, you just keep going. You learn the word balance, and that's what you do. Mm-hmm. But I'm going to have to call back in to keep from losing this show, Janet. So I'm going to try not to cut us off. It's acting like it's going to die.
You'll get a message that you're already calling into a show that you've already started. So if you but Karen wants to say something before you leave. Go ahead, Karen.
Yes, before you leave, I want to say something I haven't ever said to you, but I really want to say it to you and your husband. Thank you for your service. Thank you, because we're the unsung people. We don't know. My great grandfather died in Korea. There's all these unsung people, and thank you for telling us your experience and your service and all you suffered for that. Thank you.
Well, thank you. And I don't know where that came from, but all of a sudden people of course, we've been, locked up in our home for like 13 years, told to keep our stories to ourselves. But there's a reason for that, folks. But, when I go out, the people say thank you for your service at the hospital when they found out he was a veteran, or they'd see his hat he would wear, they'd say thank you for your service. But I never mentioned that I was in or anything. I don't care about all that. But it was sweet. Thank you, Karen, for saying that. And what happened? Where did that come from? Was there some movement in the country that started telling people to
I tell you where I got it from. My mother's father was killed. Well, her biological father was killed in just before World War II in the Merchant Marines, and her adoptive father was killed in Korea. And as far as I know, that comes from the POW MIA people started to do that. I don't know if it was before that, but that's where I learned it from.
I know why they're doing it. Well, I'll add my 2 cents. After the Vietnam War, the servicemen were not appreciated. They were ridiculed. They were not welcomed home. So ever since that, they are going out of their ways to make sure to say thank you for your service, so that no soldier ever has to feel that way again.
Wonderful.
Wow. Well, apparently it's working, because I don't have it said to me because I don't really mention it usually, but with Tom, because we were the grunts behind the scene. I mean, I did my part out of country and stuff, but I was a woman on a mission that didn't know she was on a mission, so I was sort of naive and dumb. Even though I was getting the facts, Tom agrees.
Well, I also got it from Grandma. My grandma was Women's Army Corps, and people forget how many women have served. And so, this was something our family started kind of doing, and out of appreciation of our family members who are veterans. So, there you go.
That's
wonderful.
nice. My children.
Say that. How can you ever? You can't repay it. I encourage people to do this because you can't repay that, and in any way, and we don't always know what people went through, and we definitely have. I think veterans are treated so horribly by the system. It's like, oh my gosh. And this is all part of, this is an experience-based stuff. We covered caregiving, we covered the military, and it's about the condition of humanity and the lack of gratitude with each other. And we're kind of caught that from negative forces in our planet that want us to be selfish and self-centered and play video games and buy stuff. Be corporate, little corporate.
But yeah, we've got to have a new reality, folks, where we appreciate each other, and it starts with each of us to light our own little candle in a dark room and just go around and share it. Hopefully, other people have a candle in the room. You know what I'm saying? That's just using it as an analogy, okay? But what a better world in the dark if more of us can see the light. And that's what Ascension's about, is your own light and your own spirit and keeping yourself going when the body and mind is shutting down on you, which you gradually see as you get older that you don't have all the skills in your body to take care of itself. And I love neurology. I really do. I love the mind and the study of. So I do a lot of the psychology and philosophy in life because it makes me feel like logically I can handle what's coming. But I really, I memorized the heart and all that in school like most people, but I don't know how much children get these days. But some schools are getting more than others, and I'm really a big learn and teach yourself education. And now we have cyberspace culture, and I'm really a marketer and an advocate for cyberspace culture. And, you know, we do these radio shows. Originally was with Janet. Well, actually, I was doing radio shows because people would call and ask. I turned them down for years because I was an ET contactee, UFO writer for UFO Digest in Canada. And I wouldn't do radio shows. I felt like it wasn't time, that it was too egotistical, and people already bash you, and I started writing books because people asked me to, and then they bash you because, oh, you're just trying to make money off a book, because we have this huge alien ET UFO community out there, folks, of those that come and support those that have seen them or want to talk about them or be about ecology.
Let me back up. That's
sure.
a manipulation, and it's like, and they did that to Alex Collier. You're trying to make money with books. There's nothing wrong with getting paid for your work that you put into a book. That's a lot of work to get all those words formatted in a book format up to the wherever you're publishing it. Sometimes you have to pay thousands of dollars to get it published. That's what I did with Author House. My first 2 literary books that I published, it cost me several thousand just to get published. I don't think I really made it back. And so you're contributing to society just like anybody else, like the trash man or the postal worker or the teacher or the congressman or woman. And so you have a right to get paid for your time and effort and what you produce. So I don't want to let anybody shame you for writing a book, for goodness sake. It's amazing that people allow themselves to be shamed.
It's just what we hear, out there in social media. I'm still a proponent. I still believe in what we're creating in cyberspace with the Internet, and I will continue to do so. I don't believe we're going back, folks. It's not going to go away. It's only going to get bigger and better. And all about communication. I am a communication officer. I got a download yesterday. I haven't got one in a long time from those above, and I'm very proud of it. And I put it on several of my websites. You can find it on aliencontact.org, teresajmorris.com. I think I put it on ERACOP. That's for Education Research Association, Community Online People or Press. All of you guys, it's free to join any of our organizations, our groups, and then we can meet you on social media and Facebook as well. But we post there, and then I even put it on Before It's News, and I had instantly 35 hits. As soon as I punched the button in Before It's News, because they have a huge following. But I put it under Spirit now, spirituality. Isn't that interesting? So tonight, I think we've gone under entertainment because we do psychic readings, and they prefer us to be under that. We have paranormal, and that goes under hobbies, and it's hard to find on Blog Talk. But entertainment is out there, and people come up and look for us in entertainment. So we 4 ladies are going to hopefully meet someday. But, Karen, you wanted to talk about your conference and the little bit about the visionaries and those that have experiences and, how we wake up to our spirit and our body. You covered a little bit of that. And you call it, I'd like to hear what you call your spirit night. So apparently Fridays is something in your mind that you've delegated a certain night for, so I'm glad you did, because we can support you with that. But you want to explain?
They've been working with Janet, who's fantastic. She's such a great mentor. I'm the youngest of this 4 people. I'm taking notes, man. You guys are mentoring me, man. But yeah, I'm younger, but not much. I'm 54, feeling it. I went through health problems severe last year, so even though people go, gosh, you don't look that old, I say, man, but my innards are keeping score. My insides are keeping score and slowing down and giving me some hassles, but my spirit is strengthened. I pretty much is interested in Diane's story because I have lived my whole life with basically going out of my body and hanging out, out of sight of it a lot because of trauma and abuse issues that I've experienced. And in 2013, it was really bad, and I just had like, if you can imagine a genie with just one toe in the body. That's kind of what I was. I was just like barely there, and because it was so painful. And I talked to a friend today who knew me well, and she said, I knew you were dying, and I was dying. My spirit was so damaged, and I had so much abuse from my situations, plus I was doing caregiving at such a high level with such little support that it was just killing me, and I wanted to go. I like Diane. It's like, don't make me go back. And I had an experience where I was talking to a female alien, and her name was Gilles, and she kept saying, you're going to be taken, you're going to go to the ships. This is not a normal thing for me. I usually hang out in the etheric realm that's not really like spaceship oriented, and they were saying, you're coming to the ships, we're going to take you. And I was like, and they were telling me, if you want to remember what happens, you have to calm down, you have to be not so stressed out, and you have to not tell us to not take you back. Because the more traumatized you are when you're on the ship, the less you're going to remember. So I do remember bits and pieces of it, and I do remember screaming at the top of all my lungs, don't send me back. I do remember that, and a few other things. I had marks on my body. It was very interesting. And I was in a large exam tray kind of thing, and I had reptilians looking at me, and they were very nice. They weren't mean or anything. But they basically, I did have an experience up there, but where I got in trouble was I got so upset I did not want to go back. And they said, okay, well, you're going to, and so I've remembered things subsequent to that time what happened. But it was funny because I do remember, don't send me back, don't send me back, don't send me back. And so that was just like an abduction thing. I didn't really have a near-death thing, but that's a big issue. At that time, I didn't realize that I was going to have a whole life transition, and I was going to meet my wonderful partner, Brett, and we're now in New Mexico, and that I was going to meet Janet. Well, I had interviewed her and Sasha, and I was really impressed, so I followed their work. And I'm thrilled to death to be working with them. But here's what happened. Yeah, it's wonderful. I'm learning so much. You guys are smart. And I'm an Anunnaki contactee, so man, because we're outcast from just contactee base. It's way cooler to be a Pleiadian contactee than it is to be an Anunnaki.
Right.
There's certain groups that are cool. Gray's a little on the fence, depending, but yeah, it's like there's the cool kids that are the Pleiadians.
Think about it. They're all low levels in the galaxy, so it's universally.
Well, I think that all the beings have.
Where do you come out as? But you can come out different places. We have to be open-minded, just like it doesn't matter what city you're from on the planet. It's the way I look at it. It doesn't matter if you're from Albuquerque or Hong Kong or anywhere. It doesn't matter. So we're all treated equal on the planet. We're all spinning around smartly, aren't we?
Yeah. Well, I think that there's service to self and service to others beings in every culture and every extraterrestrial culture, and even a couple genres up from us, like maybe angelic types. I mean, we know that, right? Fallen angels and positive angels. So there's this kind of a big, skirmish, war, debate, I don't know what you call it, of what is what kind of experiences are the best. And some think we're going to be selfish, and I'm going to have a big mansion, and I'm going to be well-known, and I'm going to be famous, and other people are going to struggle with all kinds of difficulties and kind of be in the lower echelons, but I think the strongest spirits end up in the lower echelons, and I'll tell you why. I have a daughter who's disabled. She's 28. She was born with spina bifida, and I've lived in hospitals on and on with her, and I know that whole weekend thing. Don't go on the weekend. And I've had to a few times. But the thing is she got the chance to come back or not, and she was 9 years old. She had a stroke. She had an allergy attack and a stroke on the table, and we lost her, and then they brought her back. We resuscitated her and finished the surgery. But when she came back, she told me that she chose to come back, and it was like astonishing. Oh, somebody's getting a phone call. It was astonishing because She was coming back to a body worse than it was when she started the surgery, because she was coming back. Before she was paralyzed, but she could talk, and she was, kind of okay. But she had a condition that would be very bad to continue. We did the surgery. She went through the near-death experience, and she told me just before she had kind of like a stroke sort of thing at 9 years old. She said, I chose to come back. I wanted to come back. And then she went into about a year, she just kind of faded out on us, and she had to go through speech therapy and physical therapy just to get back close to where she was before with a little extra effect. And, man, that just blew my mind. I thought all the time she was recovering, I was thinking about that she chose to come back to a more difficult life. If it was me with a paralyzed body and a brain injury, it's like, I don't want to come back. I'm out of here. This body ain't working. But she chose that, and it's her spirit. That's why. She has a strong spirit, and she has her own light to give to people. And I'm sharing the story right now because I know that's part of the story for she and I, is for me to share what she's been through. And so this is the spirituality behind this. Is you're so right about that, TJ, is that we need to keep the spirituality in mind. So I want to say real quick about the conference, where we're heading with it. A couple of years ago, I got that phrase, we are disclosure, kind of popped in my head one day. I ran it past a few people. It wasn't time to really get things going. And it was my observation of the disclosure movement, and I honor the people, Steve Bassett, Steve Garrett, all the ones that have worked on it, but we're asking the government to tell us the truth. Wow. The more I know about the behind the scenes of that and the politics of that, we could be waiting a really long time. And they need the people to push them, Now, on top of that, we've had literally millions of experiencers. And we've all been we've had an operation put on us to keep us scared and shamed and not wanting to say anything. However, from the ET perspective, it's like there's this funny cartoon where the ET says, take us to your leader, and at that time it was Bill Clinton, and he's eating hamburgers and winking at a pretty girl, and they said, take us to another leader, please. It was kind of funny. And it was the idea that, the leaders are a bit preoccupied, and so now they've kind of bypassed that, and they're going to the people. And I learned about this from Michael Sala, who talked about track 2 diplomacy. So if you can't get through the leaders of another country, you have people do foreign exchange stuff, you have them do, building hospitals and schools in another country, and it's a different type of diplomacy where two countries can get to know each other through the people. And I love that. And so this is what we're looking at, is if you look at the pattern of I call exposure is disclosure, okay? The pattern of exposure is to warm us up to, despite whatever our government does, this is going to happen. This is part of the natural progress of planets, is that they kind of are insular for a while, and then they have to join the galactic community. And so there's a process and a protocol for that. And if you look at what is happening with experiencers, you realize they also have to teach us about a new type of physics. They have to teach us about interdimensionality. There's a lot we have to learn, and we have to learn it from each other. So this is the Thanksgiving weekend, and I thought about it this way. A lot of people, to entertain the family, they will get a coffee table out, and they'll put a 1,000-piece puzzle, and while everybody's eating their turkey and going around, they do parts of the puzzle, right? So the whole family is doing this puzzle. It's the same idea. The whole family of humanity has to do this together. Some of us know a lot, and we're good. Like, take me to the ship, and I'm out of here. Get me off this planet, Scotty, because there's no intelligent life. We're ready to go, and be part of that. But that's not the point. The point is to bring us all together into that process. And we're at this interesting point of the experiencer movement, which is not something people really thought about. It's vast. A lot of people, if they've not seen a ship, they've at least had dreams, or they've had visions, or some kind of something that's telling them there's more to this earth than going to Starbucks and buying Nike shoes, And so that's the idea, is we are disclosure, and exposure is disclosure. So they're using UFOs as a weapon of mass instruction, right? And they're exposing us to anything from just a flit and you see a little UFO, and then, boy, that'll stick in your head, just even if you just see one, to visions and dreams, to what happens in our entertainment media with a lot of sci-fi, has a lot of reality to it that people don't know. We're getting warmed up. Our movies and our internet is very interesting because there is a cosmic internet, okay? And SETI is looking for life, and they're looking for radio transmissions and things that are very primitive. We don't even do that now. We're all digital now, right? And the thing is it's not that kind of contact. It's a form of telepathy, and it's an instrumented form of telepathy, including technology. If you're on a big mothership, some of your telepathic stuff, especially when you're trying to get two very divergent races, they'll have a instrumented transcommunication. So they'll use a go-between, like a channeler, or they'll use some kind of technology to help translate thought between species. And our internet is like the old Bedouin scene where you get the camel with its nose under the tent and it's just going to run off with the whole tent. The internet was sold to the powers that be as a way to control everyone. So they were all for it. So they instituted it and got it started. Now the camel is taking off with the tent because we're learning how thought forms get communicated back and forth with our social media. And a thought form that's like a little packet of information on the internet. In order to have, if I send somebody a Facebook, message, it gets broken down into little packets, and that little chain of packets will go all through the internet till it gets over there. And if there's a break in the internet anywhere, the early development of the technology is it'll go like water. It'll just go right around the break, and then I get your message. And so the internet, actually, thought form-wise, is a mini system or a lesser system or a primitive form of the galactic communication system. And now we are interacting with each other in cyberspace, which is a virtual space. I'm talking to you guys. We're not at a coffee shop talking. We're all over the planet talking to each other via this shared thought space. And everyone listening to us is participating. We're like in a conference room talking, but we're not together. We're like I'm in the kitchen, actually. I'm kind of chained to the wall because I got phone issues. But anyway, that's what they gave us when they gave us the internet. And I agree with you, TJ. We're not done with the internet. They talk about shutting it down all the time, but oh my gosh, they couldn't. The powers that be could now not function without it themselves. How are they going to control us if they don't have a hook into what we're doing with our communication? So they're using it, so they can't shut it down because then they don't have it. So now they're stuck, and that's exactly what the ETs who gave that to them intended. Much more higher order consciousness did these ETs have. And so now the Pandora's box is open, the cat is out of the box, the camel's got his nose under the tent. We're now being brought in, just because of the internet, into greater galactic awareness, and it will be the tool to help solve our human problems once we get very committed in our spirit to tackle those problems. There should not be one homeless vet or one homeless person. That's insane.
Right.
I get told by why we talk about economics, like a lot with all the experiencers I know, we talk about economics because we can clearly see as experiencers that other races, in fact, one time they said, oh, money, how quaint. Like they're visiting the little Amish village and we have to use money. I mean, that's their thought process, is that this is, not only is it quaint, but it's kind of harmful. Because of what it does to our minds and our spirits, we become totally oriented to material things, totally or want to make some money, which is nothing wrong because we do have to eat. Unfortunately, tied our food to the money system. That's not cool. But the thing is we are going to transition out of this. I've been told. I mean, since 2009, they've been hammering me with this. My father was a conspiracy theory about money. So I heard about the Bilderbergers and the Federal Reserve and all that from when I was a child. And now I see, like I mentally can see how we're going to walk through these transitions, and at the end we're going to have an abundance economy. But we have to open ourselves to that. Our spirit guides and our ancestors and our AT family want us to graduate out of that because it's harmful now. Like pain pills are great when you have pain, but you shouldn't continue to take them. It's the same thing. We're addicted to the system. So We Are Disclosure is for experiencers, by experiencers conferences to help bring experiencers together, because it's going to be the experiencer movement. It's going to strongly push us in everything I'm saying. And Jan and I have been working on it. I'll just spill the beans right now. We're working on Albuquerque and the Pacific Northwest. I'm from Washington State. We're going to try to be there. Orlando, Florida, near John Pope down there. He's usually on with us. He's visiting family this evening. And I'd love it if we got out to Hawaii, but I don't know. And also Ohio, which is we've got friends in Ohio that have done. I've worked with some early parts of conferences out there, and hopefully some other places. If anyone has ideas or they want to help us find venues, we're going to do this. And this is not the UFO movement or exopolitics. UFO is let's see what these craft are about and what's their propulsion and that sort of thing. Exopolitics was who's driving them, what races are sending it, a little bit more speculative. But the experiencer movement is people who've had experiences and they've learned from that and clearly see the problems we have on the planet, but they're been isolated up till this point, and we all need each other to come out and the gory details it's incredible when I'll say some weird detail to another experiencer and they'll go, oh my gosh, I had that too. The stuff that you'd be afraid to admit because it's just too crazy, sometimes you'll find other people that have had exactly the same thing. And then we need to have these conversations. So we're working on it. And I'm so super excited. So back to you guys.
That was great. TJ, what do you have to say about all that?
Okay. I understand everything she said, and it sounds like we're moving towards making some change in reality. So, it's nice to have a plan. I'd like to hear a short-term and a long-term for us and how we're going to make a difference. So we're all four little women on a ladies' night Friday night talking on the radio so the entire global community can hear. Syndicated with TJ Marcy Radio and Cosmos Radio and Aquarian Radio. We have some new players wanting to come in, and we know the big players on History Channel, National Geographic, et cetera, et cetera. Everybody has their own little group, their own clique, using television media, and I have TJ Marcy Media, and I'm doing what I can with my websites and our radio that you're listening to, folks. But we'd like to hear what you would like to do and how you'd like to volunteer with all our organizations in the United States of America, because right now they're asking me to concentrate on North America, and that includes South America. And we have some people doing bilingual work with us, including our newest director in California, Javier Sandoval, and now we're looking at Luis Valverde, which we posted would be coming on tonight, but we will be getting back with him. So how are you guys going to work, you women? Are we going to, because we're looking at a non-hierarchical society with our group. We're going to have, Janet and I are looking at, hopefully with Karen and Diana, and we hadn't heard from Diana in a while, but working together. So how does one propose, because there's, okay, who wants to be the boss tonight? Who wants to be the boss tomorrow? But we can all do whatever we are best at while we're forming this team around the United States of America. I would like to concentrate on the states in the United States. So right now, Janet and Karen can concentrate where they are on the North America side of the West Coast, while Diana and I concentrate on the East Coast. So presently, Diana and I are looking at Louisville, which we talked about last year, and St. Louis, because they're within Louisville's within 100 miles. St. Louis, it was an hour and a half, 2 hours. My sister-in-law is sitting here. She's drove in it. Was it 2.5 hours to St. Louis? Yeah, so it's a doable, and we're looking at July, the summer solstice, and we're calling all of ours to work with Canada, Alien Cosmos Expos, and then under that we could have every theme noted, whether we're working together in art, culture, education, science, technology, history, and folk life. And, of course, we have the Universal Life Ministers, and we have many people doing that, including Bill M. Tracer, who is our vice president in Memphis, Tennessee. And I will be doing February in Memphis. It's the 34th year for that particular one. It's a very great honor to be accepted as a speaker for that. So I'm very much with you ladies deciding how to work together as directors together. So back to you, Diana, Janet, Karen, how do y'all want to?
Diana.
Go ahead. You know what I'm talking about. We don't have to have. We can have 5 directors, but you know what I'm saying. Go ahead, Karen, whoever.
We haven't heard from Diane. Diane, chime in. We're interested.
All right, Diana, your turn. How we can all work together.
I'm here. I really don't know what to say because I'm the person with the zero amount of money, and I don't even like to say that because I am manifesting a lot more. So it always comes down to I have to tell people why I'm not doing something that costs money, and I don't like that because I want to be able to keep on manifesting, because every time I have to say why I'm putting myself in a vibration I don't want to be in. So I'm like somebody living on the road. I don't have access to the internet all the time. These are the kind of things that I don't need to keep on repeating. So when it comes back to what am I going to do, just, kind of like, I'm here, and and that's it. And when it comes to where somebody's actually going to say, "Wow, you get to do what you came here to do! Finally!" I'm going to jump for joy. Be out there filling up everybody's gas tank and teaching everybody everything I know. It's like I'm going to do the things that people should be doing to help the homeless now. I'm into barter exchange teaching. I'm into things that you're really not into because you guys already have your support system. You have your husbands. You have your homes. You got, and I have to make something out of nothing continuously, not just once in a while, continuously. So I am ready for that knock on the door saying, we know the work you've done, and now we're here to let you do what you came here to do and be able to do it. And when that happens, you're going to see a lot and hear a lot more from me. But until then, I'm busy healing people as I'm going down the street and taking care of trees and animals and earthquakes and floods and all that other stuff that light workers do. That's what I'm doing now, and that's hard for anyone to conceive. My whole life has been hard for people to conceive. I'm sorry. But it happens, and I've worked very hard. And I worked in the etheric war, too. I heard Karen say she was in the etheric war. In the etheric war back in 2000 when it was more than 50% of the people were out to just harm us in any way they could, the light workers were really needed in the fourth density then to help everyone on Earth so that we could still have an Earth. And we finally got to that point where we've done enough work that, yay, we get to still have an Earth. So, hey, I didn't get any credit for my 6 years of etheric war. I would like to say thank you for your service. I didn't get any credit for my 32 years of nursing. I would like for somebody to say thank you for your service. But it continues on, that I continue on.
Hey, I appreciate you being a nurse. I know that people do not get credit. And I love you, Diana, okay? I love everybody, but I love you more because you spent 32 years as an RN. I love my sister-in-law because she spent 32 or 34 years as a CNA sitting here. Oh, my God, she's old.
It's all about taking care of people.
45 years. So, maybe this is a good thing. We can all help, especially the women that have served and they don't get any credit. But I suggest in this group around that we're creating here in the world and in North America that we definitely, Karen, you and Janet can offer at least certificates from our group or the Ascension Center, Janet, for recognizing our caregivers and our medical personnel, RNs and whomever, because we should have something, Janet. So, awards or certificates at least hang on the wall until you're dead that said, hey, we appreciate you, for your service.
Hey, Diane.
Yeah.
Diane?
I like that. Until you're dead.
Diane
with an A.
Diane,
Go
thank
ahead.
you
My
for
name's
your
Diana.
service, Diane. Thank you for your service, dear.
Okay.
Thank you. It's seen.
My
You're
name's
watched.
Diana.
You're seen. You are.
Diana.
You're known.
I worked in developmentally disabled for 11 years, so I know what your daughter's going through. I went to the hospital with them when they had surgery. I went to the clinic with them. I'm the one who wrote out all of their appointments, took them to the clinic doctor to get, they really did have a lot more than people know that they have. They got to go to eye doctors. We don't get to go to eye doctors unless we have cats. They got to have adaptive equipment. They got to have surgery. They got to have everything, and they got to have their own RN. So developmentally disabled until, I think about after 21 they stopped helping them. But at least the younger ones got good care, because I was a part of that.
Yeah, that was disturbing to me because all the patients that I took care of had health care and I did not. It was disturbing to me because all my patients had an income and I did not. I went functionally without an income from 2007 until last month. And I was riding on whatever I could get. I was nearly homeless, functionally homeless, living in the home with the person I was taking care of so I would not be homeless. And I've been through this very difficult thing that's going on. And because I broke down, I realized I had a health breakdown, and I was okay, but I realized I couldn't take care of my daughter anymore after 20 years. And I knew I was going to have a hard time financially, but I figured I had skills. I figured I could get work. And I was not able. I did have a fiance I stayed with for a while, and a husband that unfortunately decided to use drugs, and I'm not with him anymore. But the thing is I've been in your situation where it's like it seems like there's several statements came to my mind that we're walking without a net, of course. And the other thing is that there's an old saying in the Bible about the Israelites who had to make bricks without straw. And this was crazy making to me because I could just not get any stability. And I have a wonderful partner, but he's been homeless 10 years as a veteran. This is like our best people are just abandoned in ways that it just hurts my head.
Well, they blackball the good people. Once I became board certified holistic, which was at the bachelor's, master's degree level, you had to have the degree before you could even take the course and take the 6-hour exam. Once I became board certified holistic, then there was government people who moved in to make sure that I couldn't do nursing anymore because they put out flyers, tried to say I was practicing medicine without a license. Anything they could do, the people, the quack watch doctors, they really aren't doctors. They're psychiatrists who never took the board. These psychiatrists graduated from med school and decided to go after holistic people. So
it's terrible.
And I was blackballed. So, I said, okay, if nobody cares about me. And I've asked several times, well, I said I don't want to come back. Well, if you're going to leave me here with no support, same old.
Yeah.
I'm ready to go. It's crazy. But people
don't
learn.
Realize that.
Whenever someone learns from me, as in somebody finally gave me a computer because I had computers that broke and were stolen while I was living on the road, 3 phones stolen, things like that. Somebody gives me a computer, spirit will just flow through me, channel through me, do things for me. Yeah. Everything I need, I'll walk down. I found 3 or 4 pairs of shoes when I needed shoes. I found somebody who put jeans and sweaters out next to a trash can when my pants started falling off of me. Things like that. Things will happen for me once I teach a human being a barter exchange lesson. And it's like, okay, it's somebody else's turn now. Come on now,
Yeah.
You can't just have to be zero for this many years. Zero income
that's
ridiculous.
exactly the word I use. I call it being a zero. I said that exact phrase, and I only just got to say I fell apart physically enough to become a disability thing, but that's exactly what I said. I said a zero. I'm a zero because people do not understand there are people that have zero income, and I work with
when you're blackballed.
Yes, exactly. People don't know that there's a do not work list.
Good.
Yes.
Because you're doing something good. So it's like, this is why I won't get into the alien business. Why haven't they helped us? Why do we have such hard lessons? Why did I have to smash my face in to prove that I could heal myself again? Because I healed myself when I was 4 years old, when I was 8 years old, when I was 54 years old. And I've helped a lot of people heal. Why do you have to have these lessons all the time? They're too rough on us. The Anunnakis are too rough on us. But when I needed to take care of someone who would not leave me alone, that's who I called on. Can you get this guy away from me? And instantly, that guy was like mesmerized and didn't come near me again. So you can call on them. But are they going to help you as far as giving you an income? I met the man of my dreams, the person who I was supposed to be with, and the government took him out because he put organ all around Florida and stopped the hurricanes, stuff like that. So the people who do good things are the people that are blackballed, and it's like so I went through that. I don't feel like it anymore because I work on it. I worked on myself to be positive. I won't even start the morning without saying that I'm grateful and thankful before I get out of bed. But because I'm telling you parts of my story tonight, I sound like I'm negative, and I'm not. I'm grateful and thankful, and I have written on my wall all the positive affirmational things. They are the things that I say as I take a step, and every step I take is a positive affirmation. So, that's how I make things happen for other people. I've helped other people get raises. I've helped other people get well. I've helped other people, helped other people. That should be the song of my life.
Yeah.
It's time for other people to grow up and realize there are some spiritual people out there with a lot of power. You really do want to help them. It was a long time before someone said, oh, wow, that woman needs a computer. I got a computer I don't need. I got tired of saying it because everybody is, why you're not doing this, why you're not doing that. Well, I don't have a computer, I don't have internet. Well, I got tired of saying it. Mm-hmm. And then finally the right person was like, big deal, people, send her a computer. What is the big deal that a laptop can't be sent to someone who's doing something for humanity? I don't get that part. So, I'm done.
Yeah, there's that. No, oh gosh, thank you for sharing, and I so know what you're talking about because I've been through it, and I need to tell people that are kind of okay. They're kind of maybe not great or whatever. You have to realize that we have not only do we have a do not fly, list, right, of people that cannot fly. We have a do not work list. And it's maintained by the powers that be, and it's also somewhat etheric on the dark side of the thing. They will I have tried to get jobs. I've tried to get contracts and all kinds of things, and I have had the most abnormally bizarre stuff happen when I just try to take care of myself financially. And people look around, and they're so brain dead, and I mean almost everybody, like in America. You guys, we have people worse off than in third world countries in our country. We have people with no means of financial support at all, and I call them zeros, and I'm so glad you said that. And they're invisibly doing everything that they can to help others, and people are looking at them doing it and letting them doing it with no support and like they're blind or something. And, oh, yeah, you do that. Great, thanks. Take care of that. Great, thank you. And, oh, my gosh, the lack of gratitude, the lack of support, the lack of recognition of our caregivers and our soldiers and our all kinds of light workers and healers is we're not going to be able to do what we do if this keeps up because we're not angels unaware. We are human beings. And this is so frustrating for people who do and do and do for others. And I'm hearing what you're saying. And I think other people, you guys need to hear this. Alex Collier was a good example. There's currently right now a new movie where it's a video. You guys look for it. If you go onto Free Experiencers on Facebook.com. You'll find where I put a link. Alex Collier is an amazing experience. You're totally out there, totally told stuff that people don't even know. Like, he's very high level of what he's saying, but he's on the do not work list, and he's really struggling. He's an older gentleman trying to live in a winter with heavy, snow and cold and all. And I don't even know where he's living at. But you, Diane, myself, others, we are literally going couch surfing with our families. I mean, there was periods of time where I was pretty much homeless. I was even homeless with my daughter. I had a disabled kid, and I was homeless. And we're not going to complain about it too much, and we're probably disinclined to ask for services. People don't realize we can't. Some people cannot ask for services because we get pinpointed on the grid and worse things happen. So basically, we're dealing with a lot of it's very dark times for a lot of people. And if anyone is got something to share, like I'm so glad you got a computer, that's the real struggle there too. We have so much to share, but the computer thing is a constant battle of just even getting a cell phone or getting a computer. And when they do, they're going to burn all their minutes trying to say something important or help somebody out. So please, people, get yourselves aware of this, because if this line fails, if the people that are targeted, this is targeting, fail, you don't even know we're holding back. You don't even know. You don't want to know what we're holding back. So, Diane, I honor you. You should have none of us should have any shame for poverty, because it's being done to us. This is being done to everyone. Our purchasing power and our economic system is a slow leak vacuum cleaner sucking up assets and resources. And we need to move beyond it. Just because it's capable of doing it, we need to lose it, because it's not working for everybody. We want a world that works for everybody, every human. We are here because Spirit wants us here. We're here because of nature wants us here. And the idea that anybody who has a philosophy that requires a bunch of people to die, they're bankrupt. They're bankrupt, because every human can be provided for and should be. That's selfish thinking, and it's going to be you. I always tell somebody, they say, "Oh, we have to have all these people need to go because we have overpopulation." Okay, I say, here's a gun, take yourself out. Start with you.
Start with you. I like that. Here's your gun, take yourself out.
Yeah.
You'll sacrifice yourself for the overpopulation. There's no overpopulation problem.
I said that one time.
Did you?
I said it, but I was very calm. I told this man, you know what? When you get home today, why don't you just shoot yourself? Because he was somebody who was, anti-population and all this stuff. And I just said that, and that's all I said to him. And other people who were in that cafeteria heard me. And I just walked out.
Good for you. Yeah, Janet and I were talking about somebody who actually used the word bottom feeders in relation to homeless people and income-challenged people. Oh, my gosh, I want to smack somebody that does it. They're bottom feeders.
They look to have the money to be able to write those books. That's one of the other things.
Yes.
And
they say the homeless. We need to have to get rid of the homeless, right?
$1 for each book.
Yes. And these people that put spikes so that the homeless have nowhere to lay down, they do this in cities now. They go under underpasses and they put big, long metal and cement spikes because of the homeless problem. Like it's a bunch of pigeons or something that's just too noisy and pooping everywhere. They treat the homeless as their fellow human being. Where else are they going to go? Gosh, my grandmother, her family lived under a bridge because Grandpa lost everything in the Depression, and until they could financially recover, they lived under his wife and little children, and my grandmother's family lived under a bridge, and that's a problem. The problem is the economy that lets that happen. That's the problem. Because it can happen to anyone.
Well, they have these tiny houses. When I was over in Oahu, there was a very rich lady. She was long dead, but she left money to build shelters for the homeless. And they have these tiny homes, and they're really they're nice. They're like being in a camper. They're better than being on the street. You can warm it up. You can be in and out of the weather, out of the cold, out of the rain. There's not a lot of room, but they fix them up really nice, and you can have your basic needs met, and you're out the street. And so they were creating a little tiny home village with little streets and little tiny homes. I thought it was
we just need more of it.
Some of those.
These have I'm sorry, you can at least have
a lot
like
of veteran camps.
It was a 200
made out of
square house. Yeah.
We just need more of that.
Right.
We need to get really appalled at homelessness. We need to get mortified about people not having enough to eat. We need to look at humanity through the eyes of cultures that are mature. That's the one reason why they warn us off of ETs and angelic races is because they're looking at us going, oh, my gosh, these poor people, they don't get it. That's why they don't want us to talk to
we need to move past the idea of jobs, a job-based world. It's not about jobs. It's about having our needs met. And people are going to want to work because they like to work. They like to contribute. Contributionism, moving past a job-based society, moving in towards, being more organic with how you contribute. Look what you did. You contributed to your family. You contributed to people around you. You didn't expect to have, all this money come your way. Although it would be nice in a society that isn't based on jobs is that they would respect people's work, their labor, and give everybody credit for what they do. So people who raise children, who help other people, who teach, who educate. There's so many. Look at the people who contribute to the Internet. The Internet is benefiting from all of our labor, and none of us get any kind of payment, but they're using all this that we're inputting in, especially like in Facebook, and they're generating huge billions and billions of dollars. It would be nice if Facebook could give back some money to everybody who contributes.
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
But if there was a barter exchange, the world would be better. If you let people do something and give them equal. Like people in California, I got off the street a couple of times, but this one person thought I needed to work 14 hours a day, running up and down stairs, waiting on her for this little molded room down in her basement. That's not equal barter exchange. When you rent a room, it's $400 to $600 a month. That would be 40 to 60 hours of work a month. People don't understand barter exchange even when they do it. They think if they're giving you a room, you're working for them 10 to 12 hours a day. That's ridiculous. So, but I had one great experience, and I got to be on an energy healing pattern. I got to, something just stopped me from talking about that. Maybe I better quit talking about that. But it happened because I was cleaning out my car, and I threw all my energy healing paperwork away. I was done. If I wasn't going to be allowed to do what I had spent $25,000 on, done. And then I was out there in the public again doing it. So, but why do we have to have such hard lessons? Those of you who believe in aliens helping us, why aren't they helping us? You're going to hear me.
They're not going to do it for you. They have a long history of helping the humanity. They see us as a species, and we come in levels. We come here to learn. This is a working class plant. We come here to learn, and we learn it in the balance. And I've asked that, and they're not here to raise us like they are like mother and father, but the ones I work with and the ones my husband have worked with, they have their own history, and for some reason they don't want us knowing. I can't explain it. We can work at our level, which is you're not supposed to know about, off planet, and you're not even supposed to know about that. That's part of the secret. They didn't want Tom to come back here. Me, I'd already died a couple of times, so I have that level of spirituality, of knowing you go back to a soul box or whatever, and I have my past life history, so all that's energy. And, that's one level, and that's the one we're all talking about, spirituality. But the level of physicality, while we're here in physicality, we learn here. We learn what spirit and being in a body is. Good or bad, indifferent. It's all just what is. And that's not, that's like saying, why do good things happen to bad people? we chose allegedly. Now, a lot of people say they didn't choose, but how do they know if we're all using our minds and we're susceptible to programming? And everybody here, we create these ways of existence that we agree to, and they're done by time and dimension and space and eras. And the best I can get is we belong to a certain class or a level of spirituality, and we're all here together. Now, I don't know what to tell you, except that they're not going to just step in and intervene. I mean, the big thing during World War II that I understand is they monitored, but it's like the prime objective. They're letting us learn on our own as a species, and then those that gravitate to various groups will go and terraform and do other planets and worlds. It's all in the bigger scheme, and it's like we don't understand the way of God. You know, we don't. Many fathers has my house. Many mansions has my father. Okay, is the thing. But the thing is, those can be planets, they can be galaxies, they can be universes, and we're all at various levels. And that's as close as I can get to knowing who I am, you know, because we've all talked about the spirituality part, being in the vessel. But when you're physically in a vessel here and you have memories of being in past vessels and you combine that, that's sort of the New Age thing, of the Newton thing that Janet calls it. But it's really about knowing oneself. Know thyself, heal thyself, physician, you know. So it's all about being who you are as individuals. But when we come here, we're a species, and we're part of the humanoid, sentient, intelligent being species. And all of us here are doing our part, no matter what part it is. That's why, Diana, you always say everyone is important. No matter what, they call it the butterfly effect. No matter what level you are important.
Let me say that. When you have proven that you can make something out of nothing, how many years do you have to do that? Should not somebody give you credit because you know how to spiritually make something out of nothing?
Well, you did that off planet, Diana.
I mean,
really. That's why you're here.
After you've done your term, you really need to be taken care of. And I guess it's all up to humans. Humans are not going to believe those of us who can do this. Humans just don't believe that we can do it.
Well, you're talking at the same time.
Well, at one time you talk over each other. It makes you feel like an outcast when you've done the right thing.
Yes.
Well, from what I understand, Diana, we all have a role to play off planet before we come here, and we choose to come here. Like for me, I'm a communications officer. My husband is a weapons officer. And we come in like archetypes, which you know well. You study the tarot, and you know how we use those in every generation and every thousand or every era, no matter whether it's 2,160 or 24,600 years according to time and space here on this planet. But we just happen to have the ability to know a little more due to we work with the Akashic field, and we're given a little bit more for being in the metaphysical world because we have some memories we came in. Some are intact, some the veil's down, some we learn as we go. And this is some kind of major program, if you want, or major soul progression. So the nice way to say it is we're all on our own spiritual path, and we all have our own soul, and we're growing our soul. Now, maybe we all want to be like God. That's the God story. That's the Abrahamic faith. Whether you're Muslim, Jew,
like
Christian,
Jesus,
it all comes from
you're
that.
saying Jesus is like God. Yeah, from the time I was 4 years old, I can do what Jesus does. Because what? Why can't you? Because he said you were supposed to and you were going to do more. I believe that. That's how I get my instant healing, because I believe that Jesus is the story.
Right. If you want to use the source when you're teaching people as a life coach or in our group as an Ascension Center source being or woman or entity or whatever you want to call yourself, at the core level, we understand that we're all one. And I believe in God Father as much as I do God Mother. And as much as I pray and send my thoughts, I know there's various levels that they get attached to. You know, off planet, I know it goes to the planet and to the ship where we have our commander, besides myself, running the fleet. Then from there, it goes through a wormhole over to Andromeda Galaxy, and the Supreme Allied Council is above that universally. And most people that are having these experiences are getting the big aha, are starting to put, whether they're programmed to get it or hear it or find the information on the earth, and it's an agreement, or that's really at the core of their essence what they remember. We're trying to assess that. And it's all about just being who you are and contributing your part, whatever that part is that plugs in. Because we all come here, Karen, Janet, you and me, And we're all plugged into a certain level of existence by choice. And Janet and I have talked about this for years and years, but we've also learned there's various layers. And all I can do is compare it to a video game for the younger generation. Just like, what do they call the Mario Brothers, or Pac-Man. There's only so much you can do before you have to go to the next level. So some souls are older than others, is all I can assess.
Oh, I'm very
now,
old,
so
I came here to teach, and people need to be taught. And people can't be taught
so
when they won't listen that you can make something out of nothing, that you can heal, that you can, all the things you can really do, and they won't listen to, so they make that person an outcast. That's not a new soul. That's a very old soul who can do those things. I'm saying, when is humanity going to take care of those who can do these things?
What is
Maybe
humanity?
I'm saying it wrong.
No.
Well, the thing is, you're talking about energy.
If we're not able to work because we've been blackballed, then it's up to humanity to barter exchange with us, to take care of us. Mystical, if you all knew Sylvia Brown, who wrote the Mystical Traveler book, she explained it in good detail. But the only thing is the in-house mystics forgot their role. They forgot that they were supposed to help the mystical traveler along the way.
Well,
we accept as individuals.
And
we go, and if we can attach to others.
Let's let Karen talk
I'm done.
Go ahead, Karen, your turn. Karen, your turn.
Well, I want to say that the things that Diane is saying were in my mind a lot in the last 8 years when I had no income and I was struggling. I got the whole living with somebody and having to work 14 hours as a caregiver kinds of issues too. And the thing that what I'm acknowledging or hearing or I agree with is that we are exasperating our healers. Many of them are dying. We're losing a lot of holistic healers that just are being taken out. They're being murdered. They're being starved to death and forgotten. Because the thing that they oppose, they don't mean to oppose anything, but they stand with a different idea and solution than the mainstream, which is Thanatos culture, and I want to explain that. Thanatos is death. It's death culture. We have a culture that is a Thanatos culture, and it's not a healthy culture. It's not healthy because it's truncating human life, because it looks at us as like we're some kind of parasite to some other, these other people who want to have this grand life and want to have all the resources, and they don't want us bottom feeders around. And so all of our normal things that we had counted on in the past, like our healing arts and our education system and all of that, is now in a downgraded and spiraling down situation by design. By design. I was a homeschooler, and I'm a homeschooler because they were trying to recruit me for secret programs when I was in public school, and it horrified me, and my kids don't even know that the reason why they were homeschooled was because of that. But what I discovered as a homeschooler was how they had degraded learning. It became education, and education is you learn this and that and that and this and that, and then you get a certificate and a pat on the head and a job and everything. And that's not the way humans have learned. And if we continue to dumb down and exasperate our educators, our healers, our protectors, our caregivers, literally we're at this point where not only are they going to say every day, please get me off this planet, but they're going to say, I don't want to incarnate. I don't want to go there. There's no hope there. There's no hope there. And our culture can implode. It truly can implode. We've always worried about blowing ourselves up, but I think that the cultures that don't make it in the universe implode on this service to self, sucking implosion thing, and they just wink out and leave a barren planet behind, and that's it. And there's a lot of them. I think we've been given a period of time. Right now, we're on the fence of deciding, are we going to be that or not? And our healers and our educators, they're doing this with practically nothing. They're being phased out for the system that's going to take care of all of that. And it's good. The Georgia Guidestones, they only want us to have like 5 million people or 50 million people, and that's a lot of people you get rid of. okay? And they're working on it, and they're really active. When it comes to the Fukushima radiation, I lived on the West Coast. We had effects from that. From chemtrails, our crappy food with GMOs. I mean, you freak yourself out if you read the list I'm reading. However, we have grace right now as a species to make that decision. And it only might be part of our species that goes on. Because apparently one part of our species that, you know, they just people we had a friend who just played video games all the time.
We have to go.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay.
I hate to interrupt you, Karen, but we have to go, folks. So all about hope, grace, peace, love. You know, we're all here, and this world has been here for a long time, and it'll be here after we leave it. So we can't live here long enough for it to leave. It's the same story, second verse, first, over. But everybody do your part to fight the other side, whatever that side is. Be the balance, be who you can be, the best you can be, and know that we're all here coming together because we feel like we're playing a major part in the arts. Like Neil deGrasse Tyson says, science has to discover the arts because without us, the spiritual people, we're not going to go anywhere. So love and light, everybody, and I appreciate you ladies coming. And thank you, Janet. Thank you, Karen. And we should do this a lot because we're getting somewhere.
See you tomorrow.
And we'll talk about...
I'm glad I stayed awake tonight.
We'll
yes,
be back
Diane.
Tomorrow.
Thank you,
back
Karen.
Tomorrow, same time, 8 to 10 Eastern, simulcast, Aquarium Radio and Studio Morse ET, Cosmos Radio. So
for Alien Contact Doors. And Karen, are you coming back?
Yes, I am.
Are you coming back, Karen?
In a more positive
way. Thank you. I love your voice. I love your energy. Good. All right, folks, we're going to continue this discussion tomorrow. Love and light, ladies.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, good night. See y'all tomorrow. Okay, I'll build it, Janet.
Night.
I will build it, and they will come. Good night.
You will build it, we will come. Okay, good night.
Good night.
Okay. Bye-bye.